Hey, what's up, everybody? Getting back into good cadence here with putting things together on video. Last week we did IG Live with Mike Potenza, and that ran us into the professional hockey I'm not going to get it right. But anyway, with the NHL guys, they have their equipment managers, their athletic trainers, and their strength and conditioning coaches all in the same conference. So we led into that on Wednesday. If you check into IG, you'll see where you can sign up for that. Even though the course is over, you're still able to be able to see this year's talks. And I think at some point, Potenza, who is the strength and conditioning coach for the San Jose Sharks, known him many years, he is going to talk about having everything that they've ever recorded available for people to have access for their membership. So some cool stuff there. Tomorrow, or depending whenever you watch this, I'll be talking with Ersin Religioso, which another, I guess that's what my IG Live is about. You meet a lot of people over the years, and a lot of times, it's fleeting. And with the advent of social media in a positive way, you feel like you're really close to these people, but you really haven't been in their physical presence very often. So we're going to try to catch up with Ersin, and we'll have a unique surprise that people have asked for, and I will be doing a demonstration of something on that IG Live. So if you're watching this before that, or you already know what it is if you've already seen it. So that's the update on that. We will get some more video throughout the end of the week for the T=R Systems mentorship. Remember, a system, something that you do the same way every single time so you don't miss something. A lot of folks like to use the word system. However, if you are missing things and not communicating with as large of a net as possible, you're really not talking about a system. You're talking about something else. The other thing about a system is duplicability, and one of the lifeblood of sticking around in this profession of performance, personal training, physical therapy, general population, etc., in my opinion, is being able to duplicate results. And I think that's what we're going to get after in that mentorship. We're going to look at a lot of different things, and we're going to get some more videos out throughout the week, as well as the formal website, which will have all of the details, and that'll just put us into the next phase of what we need to accomplish to get folks selected. As we have talked about, it will not be open for everyone. I do not know yet exactly how those decisions are going to be made, other than everyone that signs up is going to be the right person for how I'm going to begin to use my time in how I'm helping people, and it will certainly grow. But if I'm going to make mistakes, I need to make them with the right people, and make sure that I'm delivering the best service, and certainly better than anything else that you'll be able to buy. So that's the update there. Still 2 offices in New York City. Kyle Bowser's doing a fantastic job. I've been up once or twice a month since moving to Florida. Office in Juno Beach. The big gym in Palm Beach Gardens has not opened yet. We're still in the build out, but we are also now, I'm able to see people in a fantastic space down in Fort Lauderdale, where I've been the last few days last week with some studs, because some folks that live in Miami will come up that far but no further. Just like New York, you're not going to get somebody to come from Greenwich sometimes all the way into the city. You're not going to get somebody from the Upper West Side to go 0.6 miles down to Soho. So I'm available in New York, as well as the 2 offices here in Florida. Now, as it relates to New York, something that probably should have punched out some time ago, but if anyone is interested in moving to New York, if anyone is in New York, physical therapist, chiropractor, Asian medicine physician, we run an associate model. Everyone kind of has their own business within the confines of a very successful business for the last 10 years, and we have a lot of really positive volume, being able opportunity to help people, but also run a real business. I think it's very strange that in healthcare, this advent of taking insurance, that's where all of a sudden, I can tell you a story. Several years ago, I had a client walk in. He's like, "Charlie, don't worry, I'm going to pay. I just never had to work with a therapist that I didn't use my insurance." He's like, "Let me get this right." So you're the man. You're gonna do a great job. I'm gonna be happy, and then someone else is gonna decide how much and when you get paid. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of why healthcare is kind of screwed up in a lot of ways. He's like, man, are you an idiot? He had no idea that this was how a lot of, when you look at it like that, that is how healthcare is compensated. So we're nowhere near that. You're going to decide what you want to charge. You're going to get paid what you get paid, and then obviously it is spread throughout the association of the different people, the different partners of this group. So if that's interesting and you want to learn more, you can talk to myself or Kyle Bowser. We're definitely going to be adding at least one person, if not two, between the Soho and the Upper East Side offices in New York City. So that's the update for now. A little bit of something clinical. Last week I was at the NSCA National Convention where Ali did 3 talks. Absolutely fantastic. Also Perform Better also sponsored Bush X Nader, who I could listen to for days. Really just two brilliant speakers, and actually got to meet a lot of people that kind of on the list, and people introduced to me, I introduced to them. It was a good setup. Say what you will about the NSCA, but whenever you do go to one of these conferences, they do seem to have a very, very positive social atmosphere. So it was very positive. Oh yeah, and it was in Disney. So one of the folks that I met there was a local firefighter who is in charge of their fitness, performance, whatever you want to call it, and a lot of that conversation was a very similar conversation I had several weeks before, maybe a month ago, with now I think he tapped out as a lieutenant colonel, but we were at MARSOC together. He was one of, I think, an XO of the battalion in the last area that I was involved in, and some of the things that we talked about was movement output readiness and sensory systems in terms of those measurements that go back to the Nike program 2011, Paul Winsper and Keith D'Amelio, and of those 4 evaluation models, the one that seems to have the most mystery, has the least shape to it for most practitioners, is the sensory systems. And a lot of that was based on vision, but we know that there's other senses that certainly have value both to athletic performance, rehabilitation, normalization of the autonomic nervous system. Because when we really look at those 5 senses, they are potential windows into the autonomic nervous system. So we can use the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, etc., for a lot of different things. So now, one of the things I refuse to do, and I told both these guys, which is a little bit of me pissing in the sand a little bit, is there's no such thing as a tactical athlete. The last time I checked, there's tactics involved in soccer, there's tactics involved in baseball, there's tactics involved in golf, etc., etc. Why does anybody need to have a special name? Well, just because you carry a gun, just because you save people's lives, just because you kill people for your living, it doesn't mean your physiology is any different. Certainly your mental makeup is different, and it's a good thing that it is, because those noble jobs do require noble and special people, except you don't train differently. And in fact, one of the things that we were talking about, and this goes back 10, 11 years, you cannot possibly train, meaning putting yourself in an environment that exceeds the demands of your activity. That's what training, that's what conditioning is. That your participation is meant to adapt, so you exceed your current demands by as much as you can, but no more. So your recovery is reasonable, so that the next time this exposure occurs, then your body is resilient to this thing. Well, guess what? When the bullets are real, and the fire is hot, there is no possible way to create the psychological and or emotional stressors. It's not humanly possible. Well, what are we supposed to do? Well, you try to train as extensively as possible within the realms of physiology, but if you actually, first of all, you don't even ever do this. You don't ever practice with real bullets. Yeah, when it comes down to these simulations. But let's say if you did, it would take months to recover, and within those months, you would not be able to tumble a second, a third, a fourth, or fifth exposure with these incredible psychological loads. It's not humanly possible to train. It's humanly possible to run as many systems of the body at 92%, at 95%. So if you are on call and you're on 96-hour call, and all of a sudden your body has as much biological resources as possible, but to think that you can actually train and actually prepare for this ridiculous event. It's like no one practices 11 on 11 in football full pads ever. And if you do, you take a whole bunch of time off. So even in spring games at the college level, the quarterback doesn't get hit. So it's part of the ridiculous narcissism involved in that population, that they need their own name, that they're a tactical athlete, when of course there's tactics involved in many other activities. But the mere fact that you can't prepare, you cannot exceed the demands. So what do? Well, we do know that there's significant opportunities to be intelligent with very high, but let's call them lactic loads. We're going to have an extremely high heart rate. We're going to be wearing all sorts of kit, and those are levels of preparation that I think are very possible to create mechanical load replication. Certainly the participation of strategy and how you'll do what you do when the bell tolls is critical. I'm not going to say tactical, but clearly that would be a fair word to describe that. But well, again, just because you carry a gun doesn't make you any more tactical than somebody that kicks a ball. This isn't just nonsense. So now you're in these very simulative activities. And then how can you increase the load without relatively impacting the cardiac system to levels that are simply unsafe, but more importantly cannot be replicated without significant recovery? How can we do that? What we were talking about was the sensory systems. And when we were introduced to them, and you see them sometimes still, the Nike strobes, and now they're run by a company called Synaptic. I don't get paid by Synaptic, but these were guys that I was with at Nike many years ago, so I'm really excited to support folks like Dr. Herb Yu, involved with Synaptic, Senaptec, and it's because they're typically used by goofballs and court jesters, standing on a Bosu ball and throwing a little tennis ball while the goggles are blinking. Certainly visual occlusion during technical skills is an option to use those types of glasses, but you're also, for lack of better term, effing with the visual system, which is a significant potential autonomic stressor. There is an electrical signature that the autonomic nervous system begins to equate to those skills. You have now added a unique level of sensory stress simply by playing with the glasses. They blink half, they blink in a circle, all these different things. Most of the time at Nike, we were actually using them not to necessarily challenge an ability to catch the ball or catch and shoot. We were just doing regular drills to add this extra layer of sensory stress where you actually could measure those autonomic loads through something like Omegawave. So we started to run with that because that's easy to buy. I don't mean financially, but okay, we just do everything we do, but the glasses are annoying us. And if you can still maintain technical proficiency while something is annoying you, you have ideally improved your mastery of that skill. So that should make a lot of sense. But further than that, how do you really increase the sensory demands? And one of the things that I have always been a fan of, not of all types of music and sound, which is also sensory system, but now we're going to use psychological terror music. And a lot of folks, most recently, several years ago, you saw in the television adaptation of what happened in Waco many years ago with the Branch Davidian folks, and part of how the government, and I don't remember the agency, it probably would have been the FBI, that got those folks to come out of the house was just keeping them up all night with horrendous psychological terror or psychological warfare music. There's some stories of that also being used in Colombia many years ago. So now, if you're going to run those lactic intervals for 1 minute, for 80 seconds, where we're still applying some very intelligent science, and we're going to have 4 and 5 minute rests if we run those intervals with the psychological terror music, or music that you hate, or gum that tastes horrible, or smells that, if we know that there are smells that are significant to theater where this combat is going to take place. These are all opportunities to increase the autonomic load without the cardiovascular load, without the mechanical load, without doing ridiculous, stupid, unintelligent, just, I'm not even going to say hyper or super physiological, because those actually mean something, particularly when you take drugs. These are just lunatics that think just because you carry a gun and you do something really, really noble, that you somehow have a warranty or the authority to train in some other way that goes by rules that do not, no one else on earth goes by. It was a really interesting conversation, and when you have those conversations with the right people, where it's the right voice being heard by the right ears that belong to the right person at the right time, that's where you can make a change. Because I look back and, and some of the stuff that I was talking about with Lob up in Tampa, it's like, look, I look back and it's like, one of the miserable failures of my career when I was there. But I look back and like, yeah, when I was there, everything that I did, I would do it in the exact same way, except if it's Charlie today, I would have done things a hell of a lot differently. And whenever I have the opportunity to impact people that are in the military or the police or the fire department, and to help them understand that, what, their hearts and their muscles, and they don't act differently. And of course, you're going to see this in MMA as well, because again, they have quite power because they have the ability to kill you. So that doesn't necessarily mean they train using different rules. They're elite. They're going to be elite at certain things, but it still doesn't violate the right-left parameters of what a human being is capable of adapting to and capable of enduring, which are two totally separate things. So, using the sensory systems, playing loud music is, okay, well, we're going to be in that stadium where it's going to be real loud, and so we're going to play the music. So, are you doing that to use the sensory system of hearing to add this autonomic load, or are you just practicing your hand signals? Well, good news, you're probably doing both, and they're both going to have value. The psychological terror music, it exists to mess with you. It exists to create this incredible demand so you make bad decisions. So if you can learn to dose music or other sensory inputs, but you don't make bad decisions, you've got another very powerful way to constrain motor skill development, and typically should be reserved at the highest of elite levels of performers, not just people that carry a gun. So I thought that was really interesting. I have no affiliation with Synaptic, but I really think there's a thing. I have them in the garage. I should have got them. I have a couple of the old Nike ones. They're the same, but and a lot of the technology is the same, and they have some really good stuff that I think probably should not be taking the place of the things that we do with barbells and kettlebells and woodways and etc. Everything that we do filters through the eyes, and we do have an opportunity to challenge autonomic demands without exceeding the logical and reasonable demands of other systems of body. So hope that all makes sense. You want to work in New York? This is what we do. That's one thing I'm very proud. So for anybody who has worked with, etc., do exactly what we say. None of this, zero is talking heads. So if that's of interest, please get in touch with me or Kyle. Later in the week, we're going to talk about the mentorship, and we'll have a good time with Urson Religioso tomorrow night. So anybody seen a leprechaun? Say yeah.